Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to show you guys jump rope basics, so stay tuned. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to use a jump rope. Now this video is going to be more or less aimed for those of you that are completely new to jumping rope. I know on YouTube there's 1,000 videos out there on how to use a jump rope, crazy jump rope tricks, etc. There's plenty of videos out there for that. This video is primarily going to be for those of you that have never picked one of these up before and you want a fundamental breakdown on how to set yourself up properly to use a jump rope before you go any further with it. Now jump rope is excellent for conditioning, and in boxing it's excellent for conditioning and being light on your feet, working on your footwork, which is one of the most important fundamental things to have when you're boxing. It works out your legs, your core, your arms, your shoulders, and really gives you a great conditioning workout. One of the best tools you can use, and also one of the most inexpensive tools you can use. So now the first thing you want to do, the first rule, if you want to call it, when you get a jump rope is to make sure it's the proper length. Now, a lot of people go to the gym or they get a jump rope, it's not the proper length, they get really frustrated because they start using it, they're tripping all over it, maybe it's too short, keeps hitting them in the head, or their feet keep getting tangled at the very bottom because the rope is too short. If the rope is too long, now the revolutions are way too long, it feels like the rope is, you have to extend your arms out to get any kind of momentum spinning with the rope because the rope is too long. So in order to get the correct length, get yourself a rope. I have this standard nylon PVC rope I got on Amazon. I'll put the link below in the description box where you can get the same exact rope, but this was like $7. You don't need any crazy fancy speed ropes. This nylon rope is really good because once you start using it and you break it in, it doesn't tangle up, which is a really good thing you want. And you have adjustability. It comes with these ends right here where you can cut the rope to the correct size that you want, and then it locks into place right here. So to measure it out, you want to make sure that the bottom of the rope, the middle of the rope, is underneath your foot. You want to bring it down. The correct length is going to be, for me, I always say keep the handles right underneath the pit of your arm, your armpit. That's going to be the correct length. Not too long, it's not too short, it doesn't get tangled up on your feet, and you get the correct momentum. So you want to make sure you have the correct length. Next, I'm going to show you guys the proper footwork and setting yourselves up. That way you know to stay on your toes, not being flat-footed. So check it out. Okay guys, so the next thing when you're jumping rope, the most important thing is going to be your footwork and your feet. Now, number one, don't ever do this barefooted. You always want to have shoes on. If you go barefooted when you're jumping rope and the rope hits your feet, it hurts like hell. You don't want that. So make sure you're wearing your shoes. That way when you're skipping rope, it doesn't hit your toes and you end up getting busted toes and your feet hurt. So one, make sure you have shoes on. Two, the biggest mistake that I see people do when they're jumping rope is they're flat-footed. Flat-footed means that you're on your heel, you're flat-footed. When you're jumping rope, you want to be a little bit up on your heels. So you want your heels, you should be able to slide a pencil underneath the back of your heels. You want to make sure that your feet aren't too close together, they're not too far apart. You just want them to be comfortable, shoulder length apart, and you want your heels to be slightly elevated off the floor. There should be never any point in time where your heels are touching the floor. If your heels are touching the floor, you are doing it wrong. So this is going to be the area where a lot of people struggle with, because if you haven't jumped rope before, you're going to have to develop your calf and your muscle strength, and maybe your body's not used to it yet. That's fine. Everything takes time. But in order to do it properly, you need to be up slightly elevated off the floor with your heels. Again, should not be flat-footed. Shoulder width apart. That's going to be your comfortable, a slight bend in your knees. The whole premise of this, when you're not flat-footed, is that your body, once you start jumping rope, I don't have the ropes in my hands, I'm just showing you the footwork, is your knees and your heel being off the ground acts as like a shock, like suspension on a car. So you're basically allowing your legs and your joints to reduce the impact. That's why you see guys like Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, other great guys that, pretty much any boxer, they all jump rope, they're off of their heel. You see Manny do one of these. He likes to do the kick. Right here is going to be, you can see that he's staying on his toes. And what this does is it allows you to go for a longer period of time. You can do this without even using the jump rope. You could be completely empty-handed like I am here and just do this to get the footwork in. Another one you can do footwork wise, again staying on your toes, is doing the Mayweather side step. You just do the side step. Again, I'm on my toes. You should never be on your heels. This is the premise of your footwork, beginning footwork. You can add all other fancy stuff later on, but this is what's going to be the footwork. And then once you start tying in the actual rope jumping, that'll all come together. But again, the whole premise of it is to make sure you're off your heels and you're on your toes. That's the most important thing when it comes to the footwork. You can add all the other stuff later down the road, but that's the whole premise of that. Next, I'm going to show you guys the proper position with your hands and the rope. So check it out. Okay guys, so next is going to be your hand and shoulder position when you're holding the jump rope, okay? So first thing you want to do when you get the jump rope in your hand, you don't want to grip it like this. You're not making a fist. What you're doing is you're holding the ends of the rope. So I'm going to show it to you guys from the side view. And you're holding it basically like a golf club almost, with your fingers wrapped underneath and the thumb over the top. You want the thumbs to be over the top. You don't want to make a fist. You want to make it. This is going to give you the flexibility, the autonomy to adjust the speed of the rope on the fly and the direction. So if you start doing crossovers, side to sides, this thumb is basically the guiding light for that. If you have your hands crossed, it's really hard. It feels very awkward. So you want to make sure your thumb is on there. That's what it's going to use for the direction. Next is your arm and your shoulder position. Okay, you're obviously not going to have your elbows tucked in. You're not using your elbows to jump rope. You also see guys that do this where they're way far out here. They're way too far out. What that's going to do is you're going to actually decrease the distance of the rope. If you're too far out, you can see how the rope ends up getting higher up. You're going to end up tripping on your feet. And number two, you're not getting the shoulder, the deltoid workout. You're not engaging those muscles. Now you're just using the momentum of the rope and you're doing one of these. You're not engaging the proper muscles in your deltoid, your shoulders, basically. And so you see a lot of guys that go way too wide. You don't want to go too close and you don't want to do any of this. You want to be right here. You want to be shoulder length, just like your feet. And when you're holding it, you're using your shoulder, the rotation of the shoulders, to get the momentum. You shouldn't just be doing this with your wrists. That is incorrect. Your hand position essentially stays pretty much in the same position as you rotate. It's this rotation of the shoulders that swings this rope around. So when you're doing it, you're engaging your shoulders while you're engaging your feet down below, and that's what's giving you the momentum. Now, another huge tip, and I know this seems counterintuitive. When you're jumping rope, the faster you swing your rope, the easier it is to jump the rope. And what I mean by that, you don't have to go as far off the ground. And I'll show you guys here in a second. Okay, so first mistake people make when they first start jumping rope, at least with their footwork, is when they start off, they start flat-footed, their feet are right next to each other, their hands are out, and they kind of go slow with it, and then they hop over the rope, okay? They do one of those, like a little gallop step, you want to call it, like a little horse step. They'll trip on it. That's a mistake. Do not do that. The other mistake people make when they're new is that they have this notion that they have to jump super high in order to clear the rope. So they'll spin it and they'll jump super high, and they land on their heels. You're gonna get tired within 30 seconds. You're not gonna wanna do it anymore, and you're gonna hurt your lower back because you're constantly putting a lot of impact on all your joints, your lower body, and they're jumping way too high. So if you're seeing guys doing this, landing on their heel, back, forward, please don't do that. You're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna tire yourself out, and you're probably not gonna wanna do jump roping anymore, so don't do that. The most important thing, this is very counterintuitive, is that when you're jumping rope, the faster you go with your shoulders and the rotation of the rope, I know this is common sense, the least amount of distance you have to come off the floor. So you don't have to jump as high. So it actually it makes it easier for you if you spin the rope quicker, because it affords you less room to jump off the floor. You don't have to get as far off the floor. You can last longer. You don't burn out as much, and it's much better for your lower back and your joints. Okay, so obviously your feet position has to be good, shoulder length apart. You don't want your hands to be all the way out here, too far in. Just right here, you have your hands and your fingers in the proper position. And when you begin, I'll just show you real quick. That's all it takes. And the faster I go, I don't have to jump as high. So now my lower back is being saved. My knees and my heel being off the floor acts as like a shock absorber. Like on a car, like I mentioned earlier, you don't have to go as high. Now when you start doing tricks, double under, side to sides, crossovers, all that, it's a little bit more advanced, but this is your basic fundamental platform, okay? You don't have to go too far off the ground. It's all muscle memory, so when you develop that. Another thing you could do, if you find that that's a little too difficult, is you can use the rope in one hand. If you have two ropes, that's even better. And don't go underneath your feet yet. Just practice on the footwork of it. That's the main component, the shoulders and the swinging of it. You can get that down a lot easier than the footwork. The footwork's the hardest part for pretty much everyone. But what you can do to get the sense of the rotation timing with your feet coming off the floor, because it's all about timing, right? Is get it in one hand and just do one of these. Now I'm starting to spin it. Okay? I'm spinning it faster, spinning it slower, and then add the feet into it. Okay? Now I'm not really having to worry about tripping on the jump rope. All I'm doing here is getting the timing down, the timing of the rope. Whether you're alternating feet, doing the Pacquiao kicks, the side to side, or you can do both feet. As long as you're staying on your toes and off your heel. You can simulate. If you don't have to, just use one. Now you're simulating the feel of it. I've seen people even have ropes with tennis balls at the end, and they do that. That's a good way to do it too. And once you're comfortable with that, and you can do it for maybe 2 minutes straight, maybe even a minute straight. Then you can spread the rope out and use it like it's intended. Now I can just throw the last component in, which is the footwork, the rotation, and the timing, right? All together, and start to jump rope. So, there you go. So if I were to take anything away from this, if you're trying to jump rope, this is the first thing for you. Get one. Get yourself a good rope, nylon one here. You don't need anything crazy. The good thing about these nylon PVC ropes, compared to those metal speed ones, if you screw up, it doesn't hurt as bad. And it doesn't whip you as hard, okay? But correct type of rope, correct length, again. You wanna make sure that it's tucked underneath here. Correct footwork, feet, shoulder width apart. Heels slightly off the floor, slight knee bend. Again, acts as a suspension, like on the car. It's gonna help with the lower back, reduce impact, right? It looks kind of familiar, like guys that are boxing. They're on their toes a lot. They're moving. Combines with jump rope. Works like peanut butter and jelly, right? Okay. And then your hand position. You don't want that. You don't want to do this. You don't want to just stay all out here. You're not too close in. You just shoulder width apart. Hand position, you're holding it like a golf club. I don't golf, but I know they hold it like this. Hold it like that. And then you can put it all together. Okay? You don't want to do these big, gigantic revolutions and super hops. That's incorrect. Don't do that. Stop yourself from doing that. Get the footwork down. Again, hold the rope in one hand if you have to, and practice spinning it. This is what's going to give you the sensation again. And then add the footwork in. And then for myself, I'm going to split it apart. Now I can do it. See, you're doing the same exact thing. All you're doing is adding the rope. See? All shoulder. Off your heels. So, hope this helped you guys out. Again, if you guys are new to this, make sure you guys leave some comments below. I'll try my best to give you guys the tips that I've used. But I feel this is the best way to explain it. I always feel there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. With jump rope, it's no different than anything else in boxing. Do it the right way the first time. Use the proper fundamentals. And I guarantee you it's going to pay off. Just stay with it. And you'll be jumping rope like a pro in no time. Starting to do more tricks, etc. So if you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys leave them down below. I'll put the link in the description box on where you can get this particular rope. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.